I'm gonna be soloing the empty tank legend lost sector on the Tango Shore. Legend difficulty locked equipment, which means that you can't change your weapons, armor, subclasses, or anything like that. Match game. Enemy shields are highly resistant to all unmatched elemental damage. For example, if an enemy has an arc shield and you don't have a weapon that's or a subclass that's arc, you're gonna have a very difficult time in taking down the shield. And extra shields, which means the enemies have more shield. The champions are barrier and overload, which means if you don't have an anti-barrier mod or an overload mod, then it's gonna be difficult defeating the champion. The burn is solar, which means that solar does more damage. Shields is arc, which means most of the enemies have arc shield. The modifiers are a rock no. Is when defeated, falling bandos spawn a web mine at their feet. And the recommended power for Legend Lost Sector is 1320, so it shouldn't be too difficult to complete. Rewards are if you solo the Legend Lost Sector, the empty tank. It is exotic head armor, which is rare, and enhancement cores, which is uncommon. I'm gonna be using a bow auto rifle with the anti-barrier auto rifle mod for the barrier champion and the overload bow mod for the overload champion, so I can just take care of the champions to defeat them. Also gonna be using 1000 voices to do damage to the boss. So you can use the Reed's Regret linear fusion rifle to do damage to the boss. It depends on what power weapons you want to use, but I suggest using either a linear fusion rifle in your power weapon, or if you have 1000 voices, then use that, because linear fusion rifles and fusion rifles are really strong this season. Since I'm gonna be using 1000 voices, I'm gonna use particle deconstruction, because particle deconstruction grants bonus damage to a combatant if you're using a fusion rifle or a linear fusion rifle. Since the burn is solar, I'm gonna be using the Titan with the bottom 3 Sunbreaker subclass with the exotic Hollow Fire Heart, and solar abilities regen faster, even faster if super is charged. Once you get to the location of the empty tank Legend Lost Sector, you just start the Lost Sector. As you can see, your equipment is locked, which means you're not gonna be able to switch anything. Once you spawn in the Lost Sector, you're gonna head to the left. There's gonna be an overload champion here that you can just stun. Once the overload captain is stunned, you can just defeat the captain and the door is gonna open. Just be careful here, since there are a lot of enemies. You can just stay back and use your weapon to defeat the enemies. Watch out those vandals, because they will get you. So just worry about them first. And just take your time in this. There's gonna be a barrier servitor in the middle. But like I said, just take care of the vandals first. Just take care of the enemies. And just damage the barrier servitor a little bit. But just be careful, because that can happen, as I said. And then you just spawn back in the spawn. So just be very careful. Just damage the barrier servitor a little bit. Once you damage the barrier servitor, it's gonna get its shield, so just use your anti-barrier weapon to take down the shield. And just defeat the barrier servitor. Getting its shield back, so you just use that. And you defeated the barrier servitor. Now it won't shield the enemies around it, so just defeat all the other enemies. Once you defeated all the enemies, you're gonna head over to this console and you're gonna interact with it. Once you interact with it, that door is gonna open. And a captain is gonna spawn. The captain has an arc shield, so just use your arc weapon or your arc subclass if you are using an arc subclass to take down the shield. And just defeat the captain. Now just move forward into the Lost Sector. And be very careful. There's gonna be some thralls that you can just defeat. They won't bother you because they're in cages, so you can just keep it moving forward. Just get those war beasts that are in the corner and just keep it moving forward. So just continue the Legend Lost sector. And you're gonna come up to the boss room. There's gonna be some enemies that you just defeat. Go up here because this is a safe spot. Kind of like a safe spot because more enemies are gonna be spawning. There's also gonna be an overload captain that's gonna spawn. Just stun the captain. But watch out those vandals, man. Those vandals are really annoying. Just stun the captain. Once the captain is stunned, you can just defeat the captain. And then get the vandal. More enemies are gonna be spawning from the right side, so just watch out for them. There's gonna be a barrier colossus. If you stand here, they will come up, but you can just get them. The barrier colossus will have a hard time getting you. So just deal damage to the barrier colossus. Once it's damaged, it's gonna get its shield. Just break the shield using your anti-barrier weapon. And you defeated the barrier colossus. The barrier is gonna be open and the enemy will come out of from there. So just be careful of the vandals like always. Be very careful of the vandals. Just defeat the enemies. There's the boss, but you're not gonna defeat the boss just yet. Defeat the vandal first, if there are still vandals. Then you're gonna defeat the barrier servitor. Once the servitor is damaged, it's gonna get its shield. Just break the shield. Once all the enemies are dead, then you can just focus on the boss. So just defeat the Lost Sector boss. Once you defeated the Lost Sector boss, you're gonna get a cash code acquired on the bottom left, and more enemies are gonna be spawning. You can worry about the enemies, or you can just defeat them, but you're gonna go to the right. If you see darkness encroaches in 5 minutes, that means if it gets to 15 minutes in the Legend Lost sector, your revives are gonna go down to 0, which means that if you die and you have 0 revives in the Legend Lost sector, then you will have to restart the Legend Lost sector from the beginning. But just keep going down the corridor and you're gonna see a chest right here. You just open the chest, collect your loot, and you have completed the Legend Lost sector, the empty tank.